seen such incredible, powerful, emotional scenes of the hostages and their families uniting, to the extent that Rav Rizman, one of the great halachic authorities in Israel today, says that even watching it, you can make the blessing of Shechianu, the blessing that you say when your heart is filled with joy, when you see a lost friend. You could actually say Shechianu, how much more so a family member, and you see some of the family members have been doing so. But even us watching it feel the emotion and can make this bracha according to him. Now, I want to highlight a few anecdotes of one particular captive. There's a lot to speak about, many of them, but I found it so powerful. First of all, this captive Bar Kupershtein, his mother, Julie Kupershtein, was interviewed on Israeli TV. I think this was in December, January, so 9-10 months ago. And she said that she got a call from someone with an Iranian Hebrew accent, saying to her, why doesn't she go to the demonstrations? If she wants to be reunited with her son, she should go to demonstrations against the government. She should go to The Hague and fight the government. And ultimately, she said, otherwise, your son is in our hands. And she says to them, my son is in God's hands. And you know what else? You too are in God's hands. There's a long pause, like a minute pause, and the person on the other line says, Kol hakavod giberet, which means all power to you, Mrs. He really was taken aback by her powerful retort and response. And at the end of that interview, she had a woman with her, her name is Ricky, and she said, God misses his own children, which is the Jewish people doing what God asks of us, which means we come closer to him. And so if we want to be reunited with the children that we miss, we should reunite God with his children. And indeed, this mother, Julie, would take the tefillin of her son and give it to his friends to go at the Chabad tefillin stands and encourage other people to put on her son's tefillin. So she was bringing God's children closer, and with that, hoping the merit will bring her son to her. And indeed, we saw it now that he came back home. And so a number of things that the family she related about her son, his incredible strength, that he at one point, every time there was a building came down or some of their friends, family members were killed by the IDF, they would come and they'd give them a beating. They would actually torture the hostages. Once they came in, gave such a terrible torture when they said there were 6 of them. They said, okay, we want 2 of you who we're going to kill and the other 4 could survive. And so you guys choose. And we're very serious, and they cocked their guns. And Bar goes into the side and he says, Shema Yisrael. And he says, I know I'm going to survive. And then they said, well, they just needed it for a film. They did it to film the fear that the hostages would have, to make it realistic by them believing it. Bar had 200 shekel in a wallet back at home, and he had in mind that he's going to give it to charity, and on that merit he should be able to come home. One of the things it said in an article about him. But what I wanted to really share mostly is yesterday's Hayom Yom, the daily little adages from the Rebbe brings from his predecessor, the previous Rebbe, speaks about the importance of Hasidic gathering, Hasidic Farbrengen. And the letter that it's based on, looked up that letter, it says, with a Hasidic tune, or tone even, a note of so to speak, a movement of a Hasidic tune gets etched in the heart and brings one closer and brings one to truth. And one of the stories that I heard him speak in Hebrew, said the following. There's a song that's come out. It's about 11 years ago. And he says his mother used to listen to the song all the time. And the song says, Afilu b'hastara, even in the greatest concealment of God, shebetoich hastara, a concealment in a concealment, bevadai sham nimtza sham yisbarach, certainly in that concealment, God is found. And the song continues, Igam b'dvarim akashim ha'over malecha, that even in the difficult things that you go through in your life, ani omed, God says, I stand there. Ani omed, I stand there. Bar says that song played in his mind all the time. He knew that God was with him. Even in the hell of the dungeons of Gaza and everything that he was going through, he knew from that song that his mother played, from the fact that he was 11 years old, 12 years old when the song was playing all the time. This actually achieved what the previous Rebbe says, that it gets etched in the heart of that young man. And he lived with it. That kept him going, it kept him strong. He knew that regardless, Hashem is with him. That gave him the hope and faith and the ability to survive. And now we have the simcha, the joy of he, as well as the other 19 who have come forth and are now free. So we should listen to their stories. They're so inspirational, and they should really teach us a lot about ourselves. In this case, they could simply teach us about the power of a Hasidic tune, to play it ourselves, and it gets embedded to our children as well. Good Shabbos.